what's up everyone? It's your girl Brain Shanae, and today I'm going to be doing a book review. Now, if you have seen or haven't seen it, we recently did a live discussion about this book, and I still felt that this book deserves a book review because when I was looking it up on YouTube, on BookTube particularly, there was any book reviews for this particular book, and I felt like I needed to do it because this book is amazing. And I don't know why I don't hear people talking about this book, but I enjoyed it tremendously. And for this book particularly, like I said, on my channel with my members, we discussed this particular book because it was the book pick for July, and I'm like, yeah, I just have to do a book review just for this book alone, and that is Sing Me to Sleep by Gabi Burton. And obviously I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. I love the pacing of the book. I loved how we got to explore this different world named Kedra. I love that there's fae and there's witches and there's humans, and there's so much more within this particular book and in this particular world when you read it, and I enjoyed every single moment of it. And so with this book, we are in the land, or in a world called Kedra, and from what we know from the map that is in the book, there are different sectors. So you have sectors where fae live, you have sectors where witches live, and then in this world, humans are pretty much, it's not safe being a human in this particular world. And if you are human, you're pretty much living your life in servitude. So in this particular book, we are meeting a main character named Sorsha, and she is being revealed that she is a siren, but she is not allowed to show her true identity because no one likes sirens, and she is the last siren in this world that she is aware of at this time. And so she lives with her adopted family and her sister Rain, and so she does anything and everything she can to make sure her family is good and also to make sure Rain is taken care of. So in her meantime, she is an assassin just to make money on the side. It's like her side hustle. But she also is part of the barracks, where it's like a military type of thing, where she trains or whatever with her skills and stuff like that, and then eventually she goes to graduate, and it's known as the ranking. So that's what she's worked up her way to make sure that she makes enough money for her family, for Rain in particular, her sister, because she's very, very protective of Rain. And her family, her mom and dad, do not approve of this because they feel like if she gets a ranking where she's near water, this could really, it will eventually reveal her true identity. Because when Sorsha is near any type of water, she tends to show her true form, her true self. So she's living her life in fear, not only just for people to find out who she really is and stuff, but she can't control her urges. And every time she's near water and near people, she's like, kill, kill, kill. She hears that voice inside of her head. So she's trying to make sure she maintains that. And so she does this by these beads or whatever that her auntie Drina helps her with, which helps her. It's like a camouflage where it doesn't show her true form, her true self. So it keeps her in hiding, and changes her face and everything like that. So as she does this, and she says she's going to graduation, things don't work out as she thought they would, because not only, she's part of the military and she's top of her ranking of her class, if you want to say that, she is a woman. So women in this world do not get the respect that they deserve. And the place, her employer, the people that chose her was to be a guard for the prince. And she was like, nope, I can't do that. Nope. I do not like the royals for what they've done, especially how they divided us up and how they treat humans and whatnot, how they treat witches. And 2, I do not want to even put myself in that situation where my true form, my true self will show unexpectedly. So she was on the fence. But then that day, during the graduation, her sister came to the graduation with her friend Carrick, who she got pissed at because she knew Rain should not have been there, should not have even stepped foot in that place for the ranking for when Sorsha graduated. And she doesn't understand why Carrick would put her little sister in that situation, so she's really pissed at him for that. And Carrick is like her longtime friend. And Rain was like, I really want to see you graduate, you know, I wanted to support you, you don't have to worry about me, I can take care of myself. And Sorsha was just not having it. But then after Rain leaves the graduation, Sorsha ends up finding out that somebody gave Rain a letter saying that I know who she is. I know who she truly is. And they pretty much was blackmailing Rain. And they're pretty much saying, well, we need to know this information. We need to know that information. And in order for Sorsha to get that information to the blackmailers, she had to take that job as an employer, as the prince's guard. Who's Prince Hayes, who's, you know, royalty. And she's like, fine, I'll go ahead and do it because it's for Rain. And also, as she's in the palace, she's realizing that the blackmailers have to be a part of the palace in order for them to attend the ranking in the first place. So not only is she trying to make sure Rain remains safe, but she's also trying to figure out who this blackmailer is. And as she does this, as she investigates and whatnot, she begins to have this understanding with Prince Hayes. Like I said, she cannot stand royalty, but then as she's investigating things about the blackmailer and getting information of what the blackmailer wants in return to, you know, to keep Rain, Rain remain safe, she ends up learning more about Kedra and how there is a barrier. And in order for the barrier to fall, the royal family cannot remain. They pretty much gotta die. And then she started knowing about other things, about other creatures that used to live in Kedra and what had happened to them, which was, I'm sorry, this is pretty much spoilers, but it was genocide. So the prince's father ended up killing all the creatures, making them where they would no longer exist, especially the sirens in particular, because we find out more information about the prince's big brother. And that was a big reveal to me, like, wow. And, you know, as time went on, you know, Sorsha started to have some feelings for Prince Hayes. You know, I felt like that was something that was eventually bound to happen. But she ended up doing things in order to get information for Rain because her main priority was Rain, her little sister. And she would do whatever it took to make sure that her sister was safe. So she ends up meeting Felix, who is the prince's like best friend at the time, which she didn't know that. And that's when she used her siren powers, her siren song, and then eventually kills him. And then later on, she finds out that it's the prince's best friend, and she feels just guilty about it because she's falling for Prince Hayes, and Prince Hayes is really feeling her. He likes her, and just things start. She gets all confused and stuff, and like literally as the book continues on, there's reveals, like one reveal after another regarding Rain and who she truly is, regarding who the blackmailer was. Because when I told you before how she was an assassin, she was, you know, she was making money on the side or whatever, like her side hustle, she comes to find out that the Rays wasn't really her true employers to begin with. And so it was either the Rays or the Resistance. And the Resistance are trying to find a way to break down the barrier and also to escape and also to pretty much get rid of the royal family in order to break down the barrier. But then come to find out the Resistance not only wants to break down the barrier, they just want to destroy Kedra entirely. And Sorsha wasn't for that at all. Like, and this is coming from her when she hated the royal family at first, but she started to have a better understanding with Prince Hayes and how Prince Hayes is nothing like his father whatsoever, and he is willing and able to make Kedra this wonderful place where people don't have to be fearful of their lives, or they can marry who they want to marry, which I love the queer rep that was in this book as well. I found that very fascinating. And, you know, you had a human and a fae they were not allowed to get married. That was against the law. If they got married, they were sentenced to death. So you had a lot of rules and regulations, and pretty much the Fae was the dominant species. And the royal family, they used the witches for their magic or whatever. And like I said, humans pretty much were their servants. They lived in servitude. And I feel like towards the end of this book, which I really loved, was how Sorsha was realizing that she has to realize that she is enough. Like, Prince Hayes kept telling her, like, you are enough, but it had to take herself to tell herself that she is enough and that she needs to embrace her powers, embrace herself. And I really love that. I love that, because I think of like how, like, I always say this, like, in my reviews, like, life lessons, how regardless of what society may say about you, about how you look or how your body is shaped, it doesn't matter. It matters what you think about yourself at the end of the day. And I love this book, because eventually Sorsha does embrace herself, and I loved it. And even like within the book, like very beginning, it says, for Black girls everywhere who feel like they're not enough, you are, I promise. And literally that's what Sorsha ends up realizing about herself. And I just loved it so much. But like I said, there's a lot of big reveals towards the end of this book, and like betrayal, like amongst like betrayal. Like there was like towards the end in this book, I did not realize, like, damn, like, seriously? I did not see that coming. Like, not at all. You know, the saying where it says, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Well, that certainly was not the case at all within this book. And that just blew my mind with certain things and having these reveals amongst this book. And I just had a fun time with this. Let me even read the synopsis for you just in case. And I promise you, you will love this book. But it says, Sorsha Sarkova survives on secrets. As the last siren in her kingdom, she can sing any man to an early grave, but her very existence is illegal. And if her true identity were ever discovered, it would be her life on the line. By day, Sorsha disguises herself as a fae, pretending to be the perfect soldier in training. By night, she satisfies her darker urges, working as an assassin for dangerous mercenaries. And all the while, she keeps the biggest secret of all, that she is not always in control of her siren powers or her desire to kill. Then a blackmailer threatens her sister, and Sorsha's investigation takes her to the royal palace, and her most dangerous job yet, personal bodyguard to the crown prince. Sorsha expects to despise Prince Hayes, but he is kind, thoughtful, and charming, and she finds herself increasingly drawn to him, until he tasks her with investigating a killer plaguing the kingdom. The problem, the killer, is Sorsha. Trapped by her deadly double life, Sorsha can't leave the palace until she saves her sister, but who will save her from herself? And then it says, featuring an all black and brown cast, a forbidden romance, and a compulsively dark plot full of twists. This seductive YA fantasy is perfect for fans of The Cruel Prince and To Kill a Kingdom. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I really, really highly recommend that you read this. This is a fantastic book. I mean, it had a moment in this particular book where it sort of gave me like Little Mermaid, like Ariel and Prince Eric type of vibes, type of deal, you know? With a little scene in this book. You'll have to read it in order to know what I'm talking about. And yeah, this was just such a great book. Like I said, I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. If you haven't picked this book up, I suggest you do so, because you are missing out. And just by how this book ended, there's definitely going to be a book 2. So if you want to know more about Sorsha and the Kingdom Kidra, you definitely need to read this and pick it up. But that's it. I'm not going to rant anymore. Y'all got to pick it up and experience what I experienced while reading this book. But I really hope you enjoyed this video and this book review. If you did, please, please, please give me a thumbs up. Also, hit that subscribe button and that bell to be notified when I upload more videos in the future. But thank you all for watching, and I hope you all stay healthy and stay safe. See ya.